Hi everyone, I'm Karen and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, we're not in Cardiff, but I did go to the Growing Pains panel at Waterstones just last Wednesday. So I will be bringing you along to that event, which was amazing. Just keep watching.
I'm joined by four gorgeous ladies with your lipstick. I'm just going to say that.
It's set in Russia and it's set in a small little bit of Russia down in the south called North Ossetia, and it's about Governor Dasha, and she's had to look after her little sister all of her life because her mum's been unwell and her sister's about to start school. She's really excited about that because she gets some freedom now, and her sister is killed on the first day of school.
Anna was 16 and she gets a letter from her dad's girlfriend telling her that dad's died, and the girlfriend wants to meet to kind of talk about the dad that she hasn't seen for kind of several years. So they do meet, and this woman's kind of a bit eccentric and a little bit odd, but actually quite nice, and it's sort of that relationship between the 16-year-old girl and this sort of middle-aged woman.
So I was really seeking the sort of books, and I'm somebody who, like, when I read stories, on the one hand I'm reading for the protagonist, and on the other hand I'm reading for kind of like the underdog. So like, I always root for like the wicked stepmother when I'm reading fairy tales. And when I read typical eating disorder narratives, I was always really interested in that story of the girl who dies in the hospital so that our protagonist understands, oh my god, this is a serious problem. I need to get better now. And it's like, well, that's great for you, and we're all really happy for you, and we do understand that this is like a serious medical condition that does lead to death. But I'm kind of there going, I'm kind of curious about the girl who dies, and I suspect she was not too happy to be reduced to like this like footnote in your story of recovery.
I write a series called Darcy Murdoch for younger kids, and I went on a book tour and I thought I was doing something really different for young girls. I was like thinking I'd made a character that was a bruiser, that was strong and outspoken and had an imagination and didn't care about spelling and grammar and boys and just was himself. But actually it wasn't enough. You still have to still push. It's still scary how many girls are just like not happy to just be themselves and be fine with that, and that was a real pressing issue that just made me feel sad really and upset. But also like we're in all of us in a position where we can change that. Actually we do have a platform. So I thought, what freak could I use? What monster could I find actually seen as beautiful and attractive and cool? I thought, oh, the mermaid. And I always imagined if the mermaid was the other way around. The top half was a fish and the bottom half were legs, not so hot. Because actually it's the same concept. Lorelei is a freak, and but it's a kind of early bite of feminism as well. This book is kind of written for girls. I've had that in mind just purely because I felt like there was some sort of urgency, the lack of confidence. Meanwhile, they're being blasted in the face of social media of like how to contour and do eyebrows. I think, can we just chill out for a second and just be girls and maybe have tails?
And I was really interested to know whether sisterhood exists. This idea, you know, like brotherhood in the army, you know, you would die for your brother. I was really interested whether sisterhood really exists. Because I've worked in all female groups, and sometimes that goes really badly wrong, and I was really interested in why that is. But one of the characters, one of the actresses, was really Russian. I thought, oh, they would cast a real Russian to give the play, you know, sort of kudos. And her backstory and her life just became far more interesting than the other two characters who were literally chucking away and became something completely different. But yeah, I think it talks a bit about the start. I'm just interested in people who try and run away from their problems and find a new city and go, everything will be fine here, and that's what I think it is.
With mine, I think it kind of touches on the three things that I'm really interested in, and one of them is sort of like friendships that are a bit kind of unusual, so not just someone you know at school, just kind of, so there's this weird friendship between you know, 16-year-old girl and a woman in their 40s, which kind of seems weird on the paper, but actually they get on really well, and it kind of exploring that and how you know, and Anna, who's a teenage girl, sort of knows it's a bit weird that her best friend is a 40-year-old woman, but she really likes it, so she keeps going to see it. Also, the other thing I really like is when you don't really know who like the bullies and the baddies are, so there'll be some who like really sort of normal to, and then so when they do things that you kind of think are a bit morally questionable, you're like, is that good or is that bad? Are they messed up? Are they crazy? And I kind of like that even at the end there aren't really any kind of bullies or baddies.
You don't have to censor that. That's a good thing. It's a bit messed up. But you know, that's okay. It's fine. it's for teenagers. Anyone who writing works for teenagers knows that like anything that they can write or invent is going to be darker than anything you can write. So
The big lie that I've invented in the sense that I twisted the end of the world too. So I feel like I need to know what I'm talking about, because if somebody comes up to me at the end of something like this, and generally they do, and generally they are male, and they will explain to me what I got wrong, I can go, well actually, and then I can explain it back to them. I think you'll find Operation Sea Lion.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I need to be on really solid ground if I'm dealing with something real, and with this one, the last one. When I was researching the big lie, I had like a second to last chapter fear, where I've got things wrong, I'm not allowed, and I'm getting into trouble, and all these kind of like sort of childish fears that come up. And what it was helping me with my research, there's so many people who don't publish their PhDs because of that fear of getting it wrong. And she goes, you've just got to publish because nobody's getting it right, it's a new version. And she just sort of let me off the hook actually. Considering this is fiction as well, which is...
I'm in an interesting position around because I have a journal contract, and which some of us do have here, but I'm in this really weird position of something I'm like, yeah, I have this book, but also like, I spent this today sort of typing away going like, also, new book. And I think it is really different if you have somebody saying to you, okay, we want this book and we want it by this date. And on the one hand, that's really scary. It's really terrifying and it's really intimidating. And on the other hand, like being optimistic, that's how we do this like this. It is also brilliant because it is somebody saying to you, do you know what, like we think that we're going to do this thing good, maybe it's something that we can turn into something else. We have faith in you to turn it in by this particular date. Upwards. I think there's a real difference between writing when there's that like external deadline and when you're solely working on an internal one. But I think you still need some sense of like when you want to get a version of this thing finished. Because if you don't have some sense of that, whether it's you saying it, whether it's an external saying it, you will never finish. You will just live in the realm of possibility forever. And the realm of possibility is brilliant because in the realm of possibility, your work is absolutely amazing and it's genius. And the reason that it's genius is because it exists only in your head. And you haven't tried to commit it to paper or to the screen, you haven't tried to translate it yet. So it's all potential and no actualization. And so it's tricky, but also kind of amazing. I mean, if you don't get excited about making stuff, like what's the point?
So basically I just like went through school and university, like, just trying to get through and get good grades, and then, then came out of uni, it's like, right, I need to get a job and pay the rent. So then I found myself in my early 20s, I've had a job, and I was paying the rent, and I was just like, oh, this is it then, like, I'm bored, like. So then I thought, what else might I like to do? And I thought, well, I'm qualified for exactly nothing, that's all I've ever done, is been in education, except I can probably write reasonably coherently, because that's what you do at university, write essays. So I was like, I'm going to book publish, I can do that. So once I decided that, I kind of set upon it like quite sort of relentlessly. So I basically wrote about 5 books in about 18 months. Absolute shunt. So I did that until I got to 1, which I thought was okay. And then I sent it to, I don't know if you guys know Gina Dawson, who I used to be in a band with. Her and said, I've written this book, and she said, oh, I'm going to look at it. And then she said, I will send that to my agent. I think it's good. And I was like, okay, didn't hear anything else. So I then submitted to other agents. And then sort of people started to come back to me, but then Jo, who Juno's former agent and my agent, said, really like it, really like to work with you. And so I signed with her, and so that was kind of how it came about, really.
I kind of thought to be a writer, to actually earn a living, that you have to do a very practical writing job, like be a journalist. Even that felt very far-fetched. I thought, right, okay, I'm going to go and do my degree in journalism, and while I was doing my degree in journalism, I had these feature writing lessons where I would sort of slip into magical realism and they'd be like, no, it's about the White House in Bournemouth. And I'm doing these beautiful opening scenes, the siren is waiting. No. So I got really involved. There was a brilliant script writing course at my university, and they were putting on shows, so I thought they were looking for actors, which was completely out of my comfort zone. I didn't like it. I was very shy. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to go and do it, I'm going to do it, fuck it. I was doing all these shows, and then there was a visiting director who said, oh, you should be an actress. And I went, yeah, that was it. I didn't want to be a journalist. Really, I wanted to be doing all these magical speeches as an actress, and then I trained to be an actress, and then I realised you don't get to decide what you say. Somebody else writes the script, and I often really bad. And it's often written by a man who thinks that women should die in the first act, probably not have a name, and get their tits out at the same time. You're like, oh, ugh, and you must never be funny. Never be funny. You've got to stand in the background going, well, never be funny. And I was like, ugh. So I met this other actress who felt the same. So we started writing our own scripts and putting on our own shows for ourselves to be in. And that's how I started writing. I've never been so productive as when I had a baby, because they are like a little timer. I don't know what I used to do. I used to have all day. So if you've got all day to do something, you don't do anything until 4 o'clock, do you? So, but when you've got a baby, you're like, is it asleep? Is asleep, right? So then you're like a crazy person. You're like, don't wake up, and then you just get so much done. So that's when I wrote it.
There's never been an other option for me. I just knew I wanted to tell stories and make them up. In whatever form that was going to be. I do drawing and I like to tell stories. It just had to happen. But the problem is I had a curse upon me, like a fairy tale princess, which was, I had it all going for me, except my spelling grammar is absolutely atrocious. And every time I would put words onto paper, it would just completely just look awful. My teacher would just always red marks, never anything would go on. She'd be like, it could be good if you just didn't have this, or I felt trapped. I thought maybe I could do acting, maybe a little bit, and exactly the same to you. I was so, I can't do this, I can't just stroke a king's head all the time and tell them everything's going to be okay. And also, again, it's like, I don't really want to learn these lines. What if suddenly this happened? Okay, so no. So I went to Bristol, and instead I ended up writing a few speeches from girls in my class who wanted to go to drama school, auditioning for Prada and Lambda, and 3 of my friends got into drama school using speeches that I'd written, which was really mad for me, and I thought maybe I should just take a back seat and do this business instead. But I wrote some poems accidentally. I didn't know they were poems, I just was writing. I got one called Victoria Wood on Red Bull, and then I was like, oh, maybe this could be my life now. Someone said, at the time I was working in Topshop on the makeup counter, Barry M, you get free pots of free makeup a month. I know. And still got so many, they never run out. And then basically someone went, would you come and read that poem at night, or would you do 50 quid? And I was like, £50 to read a poem, oh my god. And then someone said, oh, would you, my second gig was Latitude Festival. Suddenly I was thrown onto the stage, and then my third show, HarperCollins happened to be in the audience. Like, when does that even happen? And they said, do you want to make a book? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm 19, I don't care. And then suddenly I was thrust into this ginormous room with 20 people around a desk. The biscuits were so in the middle, no one could reach them. And I was like, can we just stop and organise what biscuits everyone's going to have? 4 of them, 3 of those. So I felt the whole meeting was like whoosh over my head. And then my mum was like, text me, she's like, where are you? I was like, I'm at HarperCollins. She was like, what the are you doing there? I was like, I really don't know. I'm here. And then I went to the toilet and thought, what is my book going to be about? Because they asked me. And I thought about it. I was like, it's basically what I'm saying out loud, but in a book. So that's what you just read recently, Jess. And then it's the only poetry book that exists, I think, that's bright pink with wrapping paper and stickers in it. And then that just sort of accidentally became my job. I thought that was going to be the it for me. And then, because my other 2 books were crap, because they're going more, and then everyone was getting made redundant, and I thought we could just go on and be something else now, be a florist or something. And then basically I was reading at Camp Festival, kids just gate crashed the stage. One was actually upstage with me, a girl in a nappy. I thought this can't happen. But my material's quite grown up. I really love punk, and I love, my dad grew me up on his stuff, so that's all I know. But I did know a Roald Dahl poem off by heart, which I learned from the BBC, so I started reading this kids thing, and I was like, oh my god, this is, I'm the Pied Piper right now. So I thought, and then one day I was having an interview in The Guardian, and you know they say, you know when you've got a character, when it just comes in your brain, like it sits on your shoulder, you put your hand in your pocket and you've got their items in your, I thought, this sounds crazy, I don't ever want that to happen to me ever, that means I'm going mad. One day I just was going to The Guardian and I just heard this little tiny little 10-year-old girl be like, it was really weird, and I was like, I'm going to listen to you for a bit. And then, yeah, now I'm 5 books deep with her. This was a test, this was just a challenge for me, but yeah, I guess here I am, and as long as people say you can still do this, I'm just going to carry on doing it. Yeah. Would worry if I think, because they just want us to think as well that this is a business, and as much as you can say, oh, I'm doing my work, it's not work, it's an absolute pleasure, I'm living in dreamland, like, and that's how I pay for my food, like, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like sort of, it's how you pitch it, because you know your kind of summation of something in 2 or 3 lines is going to be, it's not going to represent accurately any work of art, you know. So it's like, you know, you pitch it as X meets Y, you pitch it as this with something else, and you do that with your business hat on. But for creating a big thing, you can't have that hat on. That hat will like kill you. It wasn't be there going, have you thought about maybe, you know, dystopian society where everyone is categorized into different groups, and maybe they'll like battle to the death, and they can be like sorted by like some hat, and you know, like sort of the system would like pair them with their ideal match.
There's something positive out there, like you're not doing anybody a favour by saying something bitchy online just for the sake of it. Like, what have you done today? Just been me. Good night. Well done.
An article in the TES about how all YA is awful. There you go, it's all awful. But although he's actually come back and said, no, some of it is awful and some of it's good, which I feel like is not even worth saying, because I think like some thrillers are awful and some are good, and I think some films are awful and some are good. That's how art works. Some things I like, some things I don't. But yeah, I was saying to him, like, well, the way that you make things better is by going, this is good, this is what we should be doing, and by pointing out the things that are good, and by finding the things that are good, and by sharing the good things with your friends and reviewing the good things. We're just sitting around and moaning about what's bad. I don't know if that does any good.
I saw a thing online recently, and somebody sort of going like, I just don't read YA anymore because like it's just like so straight, and I was like, I'm sorry, like you're an idiot. As in sexually straight, as in like I was just like, okay, you know, like I'm sorry, like I'm 15 years older than you. I was reading queer YA when I was your age. I was reading older YA. When like I can recommend to you like 30 books off the top of my head right now that, you know, maybe not all of them are available in your local bookstore. Maybe like 10 of them are, maybe 5 of them are, but some of them are. Most of them are published by mainstream books. And if you support like the queer books that are out there, the trans books that are out there, the, you know, whatever issue it is that is important to you, whether it's mental health, whether it's disability, whether it's race, whether it's whatever, the more that you support the books that are out there, the more the publishers are going to go, oh my god, this is a thing, right, let's fling money at the next thing. You know, publishing is very reactionary in that way. And I mean, on the one hand that sucks, on the other hand that means that readers have this extraordinary power. And I think it's really irresponsible to be sitting here making these really broad claims about there is no X out there when it's like, I mean, have you asked a librarian? Ask a librarian, ask a bookseller, and they will put you towards the books that, like, it's not that I feel strong about this or anything.
Often when you talk to people who aren't in publishing or, you know, massive readers, you say YA, lots of them know what YA stands for. And then it seems like they kind of really break it down. It says teen, and then there's YA, and then there's new adult, and everything seems to be like really like super categorised, and I think that's kind of like over the top of that. As far as discussions go, like YA is bad, well, you know, YA is made up anyway, like just the parents, like say all films with teenagers are bad, like that's a really ridiculous thing to say, like some of them are, some of them aren't. So I just think like we just go round and round in circles with these labels.
So that's it for today, guys. Did you guys go to one of the Growing Pains panel? Do let me know down below what was your favourite part of the panel, and also which of the books would you love to read. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye bye.